HELP. With Smith Ball, Baez, and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy!
Light him up, Colin!
Last couple days of May here on a Tuesday edition of the program. It's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat. Mike Rizzo back in studio after being in Cleveland in the late part of the last week. We got Theo Dorsey, who's back with us safe and sound after being across the pond on Theoretically Speaking. So we got back to full strength over here at ESPN West Palm. We're on your radio dial at ESPN 106.3. Also on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. For the next 2 hours, stick around with us. Lots to talk about because we get the Knicks-Pacers Game 4 tonight. You had Game 4 of the OKC Thunder Minnesota Timberwolves series, in which the Thunder took that one 128 to 126. And they sort of kept them at bay for the entirety of the game. Anthony Edwards, only 13 attempted shots. They shut him down through and through. On the Knicks side of things, the Knicks were able to steal Game 3 against the Pacers 2 days ago. 106-100 final score. The Knicks played well. Give them credit. A good closing fourth quarter. And a lot of it was without Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson got 5 fouls early in the fourth quarter. And they were without him for a good portion of that fourth quarter. And it was none other than Karl Anthony Towns, who was really the focal point of that offense and really the focal point of them developing a lead, getting back into the game, because they were down 20 in the late part of the second quarter against the Indiana Pacers, and you thought this team was all but dead. And they rumbled back to their credit, and they were able to steal one on the road. The Pacers are now, by the way, 0-3 in Game 3 in this postseason. They lost Game 3 to the Bucks, up 2-0. They lost Game 3 to the Cavs, up 2-0. And now they've lost Game 3 to the Knicks, up 2-0. They followed each of those games with a 20-point victory in the last two times. We'll see what they do tonight. My takeaway from what I saw that Knick game going into Game 4 tonight is if I look at that and I saw that Jalen Brunson was sitting on the bench until just about the last 2 minutes, and he had clutch baskets, there's no doubt about that. Is this sort of the forcing you to learn moment for the Knicks, knowing that, hey, you actually have different assets on the bench? I'm not saying Landry Shamet is your guy every game, but they have guys all over the place that they could play sporadically and offer you a little something, either defensively, offensively, guys who could play both ways a little bit more, instead of just your core five. It almost throws something different at the Pacers, and it allowed the Knicks to sort of open up the offense a little bit and allowed Karl Anthony Towns to play really well towards the end of the game. Have they figured anything out here? Are they going to change this, or are we going to see the same core five, Mike, going into Game 4?
You know we're going to see the same core five. Thibodeau's not going to change anything.
I love that line that Kenny the Jet Smith said. He said he wouldn't play 9 guys in a baseball game.
Correct.
It's great.
And Brunson, let's give some credit. He's been their closer all postseason. And he was on the bench, and it was Karl Anthony Towns' turn to kind of come up to stardom, right? I feel like we've been kind of waiting for a moment for Karl Anthony Towns to take over a game in this playoffs ever since he's gotten traded. Now, I understand Cat has had good games, but this was his game where your back's against the wall. You're down 0-2. You lose this game, you're going home. It's 0-3. So let's give Cat some credit too, and you got to give some credit to Bridges and Anunoby, who had good games, in that starting lineup. But Colin, I'm not reading into Miles McBride having 9 points. Josh Hart's, that's it. They play 6. It's Hart, Brunson, Robinson, Towns, Anunoby, and Bridges. That's it. Like, I'm not reading into Landry Shamet. I'm not reading into Wright.
Though it's just Karl Anthony Towns is a great offensive player, and defensively not terrific. Josh Hart is just a defensive player. He's not a great offensive player. He's a good offensive rebounder, but he's not a good offensive player. Jalen Brunson is a very good offensive player. He is not a great defender. They have a bunch of one-way guys. Bridges and Anunoby and a little bit of Towns are their two-way guys. They don't have a lot of guys who could, play good defense on one end and then give you offense on the other end. And then when you're sticking with that as your core five, Maybe I'm reading too far into this, but my perspective is the Knicks just trying the same thing every game. I stand where I stood before. I don't think that they'll be able to beat this team in a 7-game series just trying the same thing with a couple mild defensive adjustments with, Mitchell Robinson getting in the game early and the whole thing and starting. I have a hard time seeing that core 6 beating them straight up 7-game series when the Pacers just have so much to offer off the bench comparatively to the Knicks.
Colin, this is over. This series is over. Indiana's going to win tonight.
The series is not over. That's not fair.
Indiana's going to win tonight, and it's going to be over. They've done it twice already.
If they win tonight, it will be over.
They've done it twice already. They destroyed Cleveland in the Game 4, and they destroyed the Bucks in the Game 4.
Right.
And while after losing Game 3 and being up 2-0. Am I right on this?
Well, yes, you're right. But another thing you
can't go down 0-2 at home. If you're the Knicks, you got to win a game on your home court. You got to win a game on your home court.
There's an understanding of that. But if they win tonight, then it's a 2-2 series, and they got the home court back again. So, and granted, home court doesn't even help the Knicks. The Knicks are not great at home. They've been great on the road. They've won at Detroit. They won at Boston. They went up 2-0 on Boston in their building. And then the game they lost was when they were in MSG. So, I understand that. They're honestly a little bit more of an advantage on the road. Maybe they could focus a little bit more. Everybody likes to bring their A game at MSG. MSG is all about basketball moments. It's a bigger moment for the Pacers at MSG than it is for the Knicks. It's almost a lot of pressure. But if they could tie it up 2-2, the series is very much in. I still think you're right. I think the Pacers are a much better team than they are. I think the Pacers offer a lot more than what the Knicks do. And I think that the Pacers were one game away for the Pacers hitting, 11 threes in the first half and this being over pretty quickly. That's my takeaway. I think we're just sort of waiting. They're a little bit of a ticking time bomb, and then they're going to blow this thing open. But if I think about this, is like I don't know if I trust the Knicks to make adjustments. That's and you're not on the Knicks either. Then my thinking is I don't trust them to make any changes because if they offered something, changing the lineup up a bit. And that's the only game they won. And granted, it was close throughout the other 2 games. But just a little something different. I don't think they're going to learn from it. And I don't think they're going to change anything going into Game 4. And I think that's going to hurt them.
I just think it's a battle of complete opposites, right? Obi Toppin, T.J. McConnell, Benedict Mathurin. You see Thomas Bryant getting minutes. Tony Bradley was playing minutes as well. This is a team that could play 11 to 12 guys if they really wanted to. And I think to your point of maybe Thibodeau not wanting to change things up, it might be his detriment. It might be the detriment to the team right now that you're going to keep riding with what's not working. It'd be unfair for me to say that the Knicks got lucky because they played great defense in that second half and they held the Pacers to 20 points in the fourth quarter.
They get lucky. They outplayed them.
They had 20. They were, the Pacers were up 20 at one point in this game. I guess I'm playing the law of averages. With what I've seen from Indiana in Game 4s, specifically in the playoffs, I do not think tonight will be close at all. I think Indiana will probably run away with this thing, and it's going to be 3-1 heading back to Madison Square Garden, and it's going to be a morgue. Maybe my fandom's getting in the way a bit after seeing them do it to my team, but I don't think for me, Colin,
team. I agree with that.
This all goes back to me saying you cannot go down. You cannot lose 2 games on your home court. I don't care who you are. Unless listen, if you go on the road and win 2 games in a row, it's going to shut me up quick.
Well, they just got to win one game. They've already won one game.
But it's tremendously hard to win 2 games in a row. I don't see it tonight. And I go back to don't lose 2 on your home court.
Yeah, it hasn't happened so far this postseason. Boston got burned from it, and the Cavs got burned from it. So yes, this is a steep hill to climb. I'm not necessarily paving a way for the Knicks to win this game tonight, but they're definitely in the mix. But I have more of a concern that I do not trust them to make changes. That is going to be the same team that you always see. It took foul trouble to Towns and Brunson for them to get creative with their lineups and their rotations and changing things up. And is this guy going to give us a little something? Is this guy going to give us a little spark of energy? It took their 2 best players getting in foul trouble to start to figure that out, to ask a little bit more. Because if everything's healthy, if everybody's full go, if we're going to get our 44 minutes out of Brunson, Anunoby, Bridges, Hart, and Robinson, and a mixture of Robinson and Towns, you're going to have Jalen Brunson pick and roll, another guy, let's send another guy. And then all of a sudden, if somebody else in the lineup gets the ball, it's be ready to shoot. That's it. And I don't like that. The Knicks have been that way this entire postseason. And I don't think that's a championship formula. Now, it's gotten them this far, so you got to give them credit. But I don't like that solo show offense when Brunson is just controlling the ball the entire possession. And then you compare it to the other side of the floor where the Pacers, constant movement. Yep. It is different guys killing you. It was corner threes here, driving kicks. They got two good bigs that are good at dribbling and shooting. They just offer so much more. It's pleasant offensively comparatively to the Knicks where it seems like a grind.
Indiana is one run away from being up 20 or coming back into a game. We've seen it multiple times this playoffs.
It's the top offense.
Correct. But give credit to the Knicks in that second half when they were able to come back from their 20-point deficit. Now, you could be onto something. Maybe when Brunson was not on the court and in foul trouble.
It just changed something. It just changed it up.
And it also made the Pacers have to adjust, right? It made the Pacers have to deal with a McBride, a Shamet, who I don't think is, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying they're better than Brunson. It's just a different look. Thibodeau was forced to put a different hand out there. So I like that the Knicks were able to come back, but I go back to Indiana and the way they play. They're run and gun style. They're going to play 10 to 12 guys. It's the polar opposite. Colin, I told you before the series that these two teams, they're alike because they're very, very physical. Other than that, man, forget about it. Indiana gets out and runs. You mentioned their motion offense. They play 10 to 12 guys. Well, New York, they're going to play their 6 guys. They're going to fish for fouls with Brunson. They're going to run this offense where it's like at points in the game, it's nails on a chalkboard, but it works.
It's Brunson's show. That's what it is. It's Brunson's show.
It's Brunson's show featuring Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, and then when he's off the court and Karl Anthony Towns is able to do something, and he's hot, and he's always been an erratic postseason player, then all of a sudden he's doing stuff. Then all of a sudden he's offensively extremely proficient. But he was going right after Miles Turner that entire game 3.
That's why you get a guy like Karl Anthony Towns for a situation like that. Another star who could step up in a big spot.
He doesn't totally need the ball.
Right.
Julius Randle needs the ball. And it just didn't work because Randle and Brunson are both sort of black holes for the offense, and that they need a lot of touches in order to be effective. Towns is not necessarily that. Towns can operate with a little less of a bite to what he needs.
Yeah. Would I like more defensively? Yes. He didn't have a single blocked shot in the game. He's not necessarily known for his defense, but he's a bottom feeder under the rim. He's going to grab you a couple offensive boards as well and make some hard fouls. But I'm more impressed with the way he could score the basketball. And that's what you saw in that second. I know this was a low-scoring game. He had 24 points. He was actually the Knicks leader in the game high.
He closed the game for them.
He did, and it was the game high in the game with 24. So it's interesting. I think Cat could bring more to the table if Tibbs in that offense, a.k.a. Jalen Brunson,
change it up a little bit,
allows him to. But I want the Knicks to come back. Let me make one thing clear. I'm rooting for a game. Colin is always the one rooting for a good series. I'm with him this time around, all right? I just don't see, with everything I've seen from the Indiana Pacers, I've doubted them at every single turn this playoffs. I didn't buy it against the Bucks, didn't buy it against the Cavs. They win 2 games at Madison Square Garden. The proof is in the pudding that the Pacers are going to show up tonight. I don't know if the Knicks are going to be able to show up.
They're the best punch for Oklahoma City, too. They're the possible best punch. The number 1 defense versus the number 1 offense. That is, I think, what the league needs in terms of a quality series. The Knicks move on to the NBA Finals. That series will be over quickly.
Look what they've been able to do against Brunson as well. I understand Brunson has gotten his 43, 36, 23 in foul trouble last game. But the Thunder, in a sense, like they have their Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's basically Jalen Brunson, right? They fish for fouls. They kind of slow things up, and they dish things out to their other players. I think they have seen a player like SGA and Jalen Brunson if they are able to get over the hurdle that is the New York Knicks.
Yeah,
I'm putting the cart before the horse here. Indiana's got to win tonight. If the Knicks win tonight, listen, game on, brother. Throw everything out the window. But with what I'm assuming is that Indiana is going to do what they've done all postseason long and show up in this game tonight.
Yeah, the thing about what I'll fight back there just a little bit is Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm not a Gilgeous-Alexander guy.
It seems like nobody is, by the way.
He's an efficient scorer, and he's a great defender. Brunson is neither of the two. So that's the one thing, and he's bigger. But there's a sense to their play styles, and the offense runs through them and their ability to get downhill and open things up for other people and the whole thing. But for the Knicks, can they change something? Do you trust them? Can they make a change? Do they need to make a change? Because I don't think straight up, our 6 versus your 10, I don't think they're going to be able to go 7 games.
But Tibbs is so You know it's
He's
not
stuck
gonna
in his
happen.
ways. He's stuck in his ways.
And it won't happen. And he's going to go.
And I'm not a Tibbs guy. I've never been a Tibbs guy. And there's some people that want to write home about Tibbs and how much the players like him. I am not a Tom Thibodeau guy.
If you ask him this question after the game, say they lose tonight, why didn't you switch things up? I guarantee his answer is going to be something along the lines of, we roll with the horses that got us here. I got a certain way of playing, and we got this far with what we've done.
What is he, 47-53 in playoff games? It was 46-53, I believe, at the beginning of the game. So it's 47-53. He's not an outstanding playoff coach, and he's won a grand total of nothing in his career.
Let me ask you this. What surprised you the most about this series so far? Because I got some. I want to hear.
Nothing is surprised. I thought the Pacers were better than them. I thought the Pacers would beat them in 5 or 6, I should say. And we're leaning to be in that sense. I guess I'm a little surprised with the Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns, without Brunson being able to operate. That's what surprised me at the end of Game 3. What about you?
I was going to go the Cat route as well. I think they need to get Cat more involved. I think we've seen this postseason multiple times, Cat not even shoot 15 shots. So I think in a sense, if you're New York, something worked there. To what you've been saying all segment, Kyle, something worked there. Thibodeau's not going to make adjustments, but God forbid you get him the ball and you get him a couple of more looks. You got Karl Anthony Towns for a reason. And I think Cat proved to you last game that he needs to be utilized more in this offense and more appreciated.
Right. And Indiana's perimeter defenders, the guys who are going to be on Brunson all game, are better defenders than what Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam offer against Towns.
And we know what Indiana is. Like, there's nothing from Indiana surprises us. We've seen it for 2 rounds now. Kyle, we damn near have seen it for 2 years. I know they lost to the Celtics last year, but every game was close. Every game was close, and they played hard in that series. So it's more of the status quo for the Pacers, and I think Rick Carlisle deserves all the credit for that.
Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat, 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program on Russo and Rizzo. Do you trust the Knicks tonight to take a Game 4? Is this a one-hit wonder? Is this a 5-game series in the making, similar to the Eastern Conference semis with the Pacers in the first round as well? 888-760-3776. Do you trust the Knicks? Let us know. We roll on here. We'll get a little bit of what we saw last night with the Florida Panthers. I was at the game at Game 4 against the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, so you're the Maloik. You're the Maloik.
Well, hold on. I was at a game. Hang
on. You're 0-2 this playoffs, bro.
No. They beat Tampa when I was there. So there's something to that. But yeah.
You're the Maloik, man.
I'm not sold on that crowd. I'm not sold on that crowd.
Now you're going to go after the fans?
Well, I went after the fans after the first game I saw.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not sold on that crowd. I really am not. We'll get into that a little bit on the flip side of things. 888-760-3776. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Elevate your game, elevate your experience. Discover the Club at Lost Lake. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today.
Hi, I'm Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. As you have likely seen and heard, law firm advertising is at an all-time high. Attorney ads seem to be part of every radio and TV commercial segment. Some firms are even using paid actors and actresses to speak for them. At Smith Ball Baez and Prather, we know that the decision to hire a law firm should never be based on advertisements alone. It is our past results and many positive 5-star reviews that we encourage you to read at smithball.com to learn more about our law firm. We have board-certified lawyers. We have lawyers listed in the best lawyers in America and in super lawyers. But most importantly, we have experienced lawyers located right here in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast that are ready to be your advocate and your voice, and fully prepared to start fighting for your legal rights today. Our purpose, legal power. Our mission, huge results. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. with Smithball, Baez, and Prather. Help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
The St. Lucie Mets are back at Clover Park for 9 games in 10 days. There's something for everyone at a Mets game. Tuesdays are Silver Slugger nights. Thursdays, fans can enjoy $2 beers, hot dogs, soda, and popcorn. Veterans and military are in for free on Fridays. Fireworks on Saturday night. Sunday, Little Leaguers who wear their jerseys get in free. The action is heating up at the ballpark, so don't miss your chance to watch the Mets take on the Jupiter Hammerheads and Palm Beach Cardinals. Get your tickets now at stluciemets.com. That's stluciemets.com.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percentage yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love. Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Requirements apply to earn the highest dividend rates. Limit 1 checking account per membership. Dividend rates and annual percentage yield subject to change. Business accounts do not qualify. Insured by NCUA, proud partner of Florida Atlantic University Athletics.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
Listen, you got to be careful because if you've been in a car accident, truck accident, bike accident, suffer a slip and fall, my friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, the type to fight for you. I personally know when I get into an accident on the road that Anajar and Levine got my back no matter what, and they don't even charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. Don't settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine today because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes is one phone call. Take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for that free consultation now. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063. 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program. The Knicks Pacers game 4 tonight. Do you even trust the Knicks to follow up that game 3 win with another good performance? Do we trust them at all for the remainder of this series? I'm leaning on the side of no, but it remains to be seen. Game 4 tonight, 8 p.m. on TNT at Indiana. We go to Eddie in Boynton Beach joining the program now. Eddie, welcome in. What do you got for us?
Hey, brother, how you doing? I think that the Knicks will pull it out tonight, and give me a second to explain. First of all, they're 6-1 on the road, so they are not, nervous about being on the road, about Indiana, anything like that.
Right, they're better on the road.
I think with Thibodeau,
they're better on the road, yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. So at Madison Square Garden, all those stars. I mean, who could concentrate with that? But with Thibodeau, I think He does tend to lean on his starters quite a bit. He runs them to the ground, but in this last game, he did pull a couple of tricks out of his hat. He played a couple of his bench players a little bit more than normal, and obviously with Pat, coming out of his shell in the fourth quarter, I think that that just bodes well for a bigger performance for Brunson. And the only thing I say is this: they could be down 10, they could be down 15, they could be down 20. If it's close at the end, I'd rather have Brunson than Halliburton any day of the week and twice on Sunday. So that's what I got, and I think they're going to pull it out. And if they don't, then the series is over because there's no way on God's green earth that the Knicks are going to win 3 in a row and twice at the Garden. That just won't happen.
Now, Eddie, let me ask you this really quickly before you go. You mentioned that the Knicks – we lost Eddie. But the one thing I'll respond to that is you're leading into my point. Thibodeau went into his bag of tricks a little bit, and they were able to kind of see something different, offer a different look. It allowed Karl Anthony Towns to sort of operate freely, and it worked. I'm not saying that's going to work every game, but the fact that they divulged from the status quo of how they operate, I think that added a little something for something the Pacers to react to, and I think that helped them in a late game situation where the Pacers have outplayed them in a late spot throughout the entire postseason. Now, do I trust them to do that again? I think that's the question.
Hang on. Christian, you raised an eyebrow to the I rather have Jalen Brunson than Tyrese Halliburton in a big spot. I want to hear it.
I mean, we kind of just saw Tyrese Halliburton just lightning striking not twice, 3 times, but 4 times this postseason. So he would be the second option. Brunson, very, very clutch, but Tyrese has been unconscious.
Yeah, I'm with Christian on this. I would probably take Halliburton in a big spot right now over anybody in the NBA. Over Anthony Edwards, over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and over Jalen Brunson.
Just saw how hot he is.
But, I mean, how many times? And I got burned by it, okay? My team's gone and dusted because of that guy, okay? You got to give credit where it's due. I feel like that's where New York fan is today, Kyle. They're a mess. Tyrese Halliburton has made the New York fan a mess. And I can relate. I really can, man.
The one thing about it is Brunson's a great closer. There's no doubt about that.
He is.
There's no
But why are we're turning it into that? You know what I mean? I feel like poor Eddie there, Halliburton's on his mind. We've turned it into, Brunson's the better player than Halliburton. But Tyrese has been there every step of the way, hitting every big shot possible.
He's a different type of player. 888-760-3776. Do we trust the Knicks in Game 4 tonight to follow up a Game 3 victory with perhaps another? Do we trust them to get back into the series fully? David in Jupiter joins Russo and Rizzo. David, welcome in. What do you got for us?
I think it's kind of funny when I hear how much of a genius Thibodeau was in Game 3, and that's why the Knicks won. The Pacers got what they needed to get. They just missed shots in the fourth quarter. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. There's a nice little Indiana term for you. And Halliburton and these guys had two guys with 5 fouls. The Stars both had 5 fouls. And they stopped driving the ball to the basket, and they stopped playing physical, and they were just missing three-pointers. If they play more physical, drive the ball a little bit more when it's there, and McConnell keeps destroying them with those little mid-range shots.
He's killing them.
And if they just hit half of those threes, the Knicks are done, toast, forget about it. Mm-hmm. There's a New York term for you.
There we go. A little Indiana term and a New York term.
Yeah.
David, good call.
David, my guy.
The one thing, he's right. I mean,
Cal, that's why I said quickly.
It's the top offense in the NBA playoffs for a reason.
And when I said the Knicks, I remember I said earlier in the first segment, I said it would be unfair for me to say the Knicks got lucky. But can I backtrack that a little bit after? I mean, my God.
I don't think so. I don't think that's fair because it's been close all 3 games. It's been close all 3 games.
It has, but at the same time, they were up 20 in the ball game, and all that stuff that David just went through happened. That's why I said it's unfair for me to say it, but at the same time, everyone's thinking it too. That's why I think tonight it's what Indiana does in these Game 4s. They show up for it in their own building. They squeeze every ounce of you out in those first 2 games when they went on the road, and that's where I think we're at right now. I hope I'm wrong. I want a series. New York fan, I'm rooting for you, man. I hitched my wagon to the Knicks to beat this godforsaken Indiana team that seems like they're just going to run through everybody.
888-760-3776. Do we still trust the Knicks? Do we still trust Thibodeau? And the one thing that David brought up that I agree with is you can't draw Thibodeau up to be some genius bag of tricks, as I just said a couple minutes ago, because he was forced to play these guys. He was forced to go to his bench. It was not his idea. I mean, he probably could have played Brunson, but because of the foul trouble, he had to make adjustments. He had to make changes.
That's why when you ask me, is he going to change things up? Absolutely not. Hart's going to play 35 minutes. Brunson's going to play 40 minutes. Bridges is going to play 40 minutes. And Cat's going to play 38.
Right. And it's not like they shouldn't. It's not like Mikal Bridges should get less minutes, but just changing something up, changing up a lineup. Instead of just sort of coming after you with the same jab all game. And then if Brunson's hitting, the Knicks are good. If Brunson's not hitting, then all of a sudden we're scrambling. I don't necessarily think that's a championship formula.
It's a miracle that they're as healthy as they are, too. A miracle.
And if they're healthy, it works. If they're not healthy, then he's running them into the ground. But if they are healthy at this point, then they're more conditioned than almost everybody else in the league, which is true. But the Pacers got firepower and depth, and that's 2 very dangerous things in the postseason. He mentioned McConnell. TJ McConnell comes off the bench and gives you like the most dynamite 11 minutes you've ever seen. Coming in, and he's a pest. Couple turnovers here and there, but he gets to the basket. He changes it up. It gives Halliburton a rest. They got an answer for everything. They come at you in waves. They came after Cleveland in waves. You thought Cleveland went to the bench and they started to struggle because they didn't have guys healthy. And they didn't have guys there. And that's where they panicked because they couldn't play Donovan Mitchell 42 minutes. They couldn't get away with it like the Knicks do. But the Pacers, they got viable options backing up their starters. Makes him very, very dangerous.
So Game 4 against the Bucks, 129-103. Pacers won. Game 4 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, 129-109, and that was the famous game where they were up 40 points at halftime. What does tonight bring us? Kyle, your best guess at what is it going to be a track meet for Indiana, or is New York going to show some grit here?
I think this is going to be a close game once again. I do. I think it's been a close game all postseason, and I have a hard time seeing that it getting blown open because the Knicks are good on the road, and they've been good on the road the whole postseason. They're a little desperate, but I do think Indiana will win. I think they'll pull away late. I don't think this is going to be possession by possession at the end of the game, but it will be close. So I would say favor on the side of Indiana because they're due for a very good offensive game. They had that Pascal Siakam game in Game 2. They had the heroics of Aaron Nesmith in Game 1. Something's probably churning for Game 4. That would be my takeaway.
I thought Oklahoma, first off, let's flip it over to the Western Conference for me real quick before we get into this. I thought Oklahoma City would run away with that series. I thought the Knicks would do what they do and push this series at least 7 games. I don't see that anymore. It's all because they lost those 2 games at home. And I hope I have to eat a giant Peoria-sized crow tomorrow because the Knicks win 2 games in a row in Indiana. I'm not numbers guy, so I can't believe I keep going back to the numbers on this. But with the Game 4 and how good Indiana's played in these Game 4s, I know how tonight's going to end. I do. It's going to be a 10-point, 15-point victory from Indiana. And the whole time through, it's like, the Knicks just couldn't close the gap. They cut it to 8. They cut it to 7. Indiana just had an answer for everything that Knicks had when they were trying to come back into the game. It's going to be a painful watch tonight. I think it's going to be a painful watch tonight in the sense of that the Pacers are just going to have an answer for everything the Knicks throw at them, and they're going to have the lead basically the entire game. I've seen it before too many times.
I think you want more teams to look worse than Cleveland. That's what you want. I think this is where this is coming from.
No, it's not.
I think you don't want the Cavaliers the Knicks to push the Pacers harder than the Cavaliers.
That's not true.
This has a lot to do with this.
Dude, I told you. I want this godforsaken Indiana team to go. Are they seriously going to lose?
And you're just leading into my point. The reason you're saying this is because they smacked around Cleveland.
Colin, are they seriously going to lose 2 games all in the Eastern? They're going to lose 2 games throughout the Eastern Conference and waltz their way to the NBA Finals.
They've already lost 3, but yes.
Kyle, with how good the NBA has been, Oklahoma City is going to waltz through the conference finals and get there. Indiana's going to waltz through their conference summit. I want the Knicks to play good tonight. I want them to beat this Indiana team. Please don't. I understand it might be sounding like that, but Kyle, that's unfair because I told you before the series, this is the first time ever.
Well, you said
I'm
the better
rooting
team.
for a
You
New
said
York
they're home,
team.
but you also said the better team lost.
They did. The better team lost against Indiana.
You can't say that. Against the Cleveland series, you can't say the better team lost.
The better team lost.
You can't say that.
Why?
Because they beat them in 5 games.
We were injured.
They beat them in 5 games.
Garland and Mobley didn't want to play. I can't handle it.
It wasn't every game.
I can't handle this.
It wasn't every game. You don't want
they were
the
battered
Knicks to give them a better punch than Cleveland did.
It's not true.
You don't want them to get a better punch.
I am hitching my wagon to the Knicks. I told you. I just know how this. It's like what? It's like watching a spider eat its prey. I'll get back to you. Oh, okay. I'll get back to you. It's what the Indiana Pacers are. They're a spider. The Knicks are caught in the web right now. We know how this ends.
They're not caught. They're not getting smacked around like Cleveland was. Cleveland was getting smacked around.
We know how this ends.
They're not getting smacked around. The Knicks are staying in the game. Give them a little credit there. You don't want them to look bad.
It's not true.
You don't want them to look worse.
Don't listen. We have a lot of New York fans around here. I don't need to be getting on their bad side, Kyle. I hitched the wagon to the Knicks. Can't you accept that?
888-760-3776. Cologne in New Jersey, Russo and Rizzo. What do you got for us, Cologne?
Hey guys, the one thing about Game 3, give the Knicks credit in this. Yes, they're about to get blown out. They're down by 20. Going in the second quarter, they finished that second quarter, by cutting it to 13. And then coming out of the third quarter, right, they cut it to 10, and they managed to stay the third quarter within 10 going into the fourth. The problem with the Knicks is that Brunson and Towns together, their defense is really bad. They don't play defense at all. So that's why there's like 5-on-3 on defense. So the talk is, are we going to play more Brunson without Towns or more Towns without Brunson? Because in the fourth quarter, those 4 guys, Wright, Samet, Hart, and and McBride were all playing defense, while Towns was the only offensive player on the field, and he was free to do whatever he wants offensively because there was no Brunson or other offensive player. So the question to me is tonight's game is Tibbs going to play a different squad with Towns on the court or with Brunson? Because together, defensively, that team is a liability against the Pacers. So I'm interested to see. And if Nathan doesn't play, he's the one that's been getting Brunson in foul trouble because they've been going at him the whole game. So I'm fascinated to see. I think it's going to be a close game, and it's going to be decided in the last couple of minutes.
Good call, Cologne. Appreciate you chiming in. Cologne says that should the Thibodeau go more one Karl-Anthony Towns lineup without Jalen Brunson and then vice versa to give them a little bit of more defensive versatility. They could defend without them being major liabilities.
I'm done hearing if Thibodeau's going to change things. Guys, Thibodeau's not going to change a thing. You want to know how the only way he's going to change it is if people get in foul trouble again. That's it. We know this. This isn't a question. I understand that, hey, this worked. But we know how Tom Thibodeau's mind works. This is the same guy who got Derrick Rose, ran him into the ground because he was playing every second of every game. I'm done calling him Dunfield and the Tom Thibodeau changing things up. It's not going to happen. It won't happen.
If there was something to, and there probably is, to lower-end defenders but great offensive players, I think you could add something a little different to mix up the lineups. Period.
This is what the box score. Hart, 38 minutes. Brunson, 42. Cat, 39. Do I need to keep going here? You know I'm right, too.
888-760-3776. Ernesto in Boynton. Ernesto, welcome into the program. What do you got for us?
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call. Your points are all true. They cannot be playing these exorbitant amount of minutes. But at the same time, he is going to be forced to use the bench. He has to play the bench. The problem is not Indiana. If the Knicks do win against Indiana, it's Oklahoma City. I don't see anyone, not even Indiana, trying to play up and down against these guys. They play both sides of the court. That's who I'm really worried about. The Knicks, I'm not saying that they're not in a hole. They're in a big, very big hole. But that's because, one, defensively, there have been some breakdowns that I can't even explain. They don't go to the threes. They don't block the threes. I mean, there's a lot of defensive breakdowns that cause them to be in this hole where they're at. But minute-wise, play who you need to play, and he needs to open that bench because if he doesn't, his job is on the line.
Now, Ernesto, do you see him doing that? Is that the real? That's the objective part of you. Can you see it? You think they should? Can he do it?
He has to. He's going to be forced. Now, the only way he's forced to if it's in foul trouble.
Exactly.
That's it, though, Ernesto.
That's it. That's a problem.
The only way you just said, Ernesto, partner, hang on. Let me go real quick. You just told me he's going to make changes because they're going to be in foul trouble. That's not making changes. That's him being forced to make an adjustment because his guys are about to be out of the game. Am I right on this?
You're right. You're right on that. That's something that happened in the past 2 games. Actually, past 2 games, he was forced to use his bench. That's it. Not because he had to.
Now, is that a detriment? Is that in your opinion, do they need to open up the bench? Do they need to play 8-9 guys to match the bodies Indiana's throwing at them?
He should have been doing this in the regular season and opening up his bench. I don't know why Thibodeau has a problem of not opening his bench. Now he has questions about who he has to put on the floor because he has questions. He should have done that in the regular season. Put him on the floor, get some minutes, let him get comfortable being out there in situations. Right now, if he's forced to use these guys, he has a question mark. I don't know. Is he going to be electrifying or he's going to be a dud? Now that's what he has to play with. But that's on his fault. He should have played these guys. He has to play them. Plain and simple. If he's forced to, get him off. Get Michael Payne off. Get him off the bench. Get these guys off the bench because right now, body-wise, if we don't put body to body, we're going to lose this. We're going to lose this series. Plain and simple. And then Oklahoma, there is nobody that's going to stop them. Guys, thank you for taking my call. Have a great show.
My man, Ernesto.
All right. Appreciate the call, Ernesto. 888-760-3776. Ernesto, he said something interesting there, too. He said jobs on the line, too. I think
They're gonna fire.
I think I'm off of it now because if they lost 4 straight, I would have been on it. But I don't know. I think the fact that they stole game 3, if these next 2 games go poorly, maybe. But I think Thibodeau's fine.
Now, I was watching First Take, and Stephen A. said winning 1 game saved him his job.
I would agree with this.
Winning, and I do as well. But if you're ready to fire the man after getting you to the Eastern Conference Finals and beating Boston, I don't know. Wasn't that? And Colin, you've mentioned it numerous times.
Well,
wasn't that what you wanted? Yeah.
This is the nature of the league, though. There's been worse coaches in worse situations that have been let go off of terrible, couple game stretches.
Fair enough. We had a guy put in his resignation. We had 2 coaches get the can. A week before the NBA playoffs. So
right.
I'm not sitting here trying to say it'd be crazy or anything. I think it would be crazy though to fire the guy after he beat Boston and got you to the Eastern Conference Finals, somewhere you haven't been since the 90s. Am I right on that?
Fair enough.
Early 2000s?
Yeah, it's 1994.
Yeah.
1994.
Okay.
Well, we got to the finals, and then they lost in 7 to the Rockets.
Yeah.
Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat. Start your day with a victory over at F45 downtown West Palm Beach, location in Wellington as well. F45, it's great because it's functional. And so if you go in, it's a class style, 45 minutes in and out. You sort of just turn your brain off. You go in, you can follow along on the screen, your actual exercises, and it's high-intensity interval training, so it's just made to get your heart rate up and get a sweat going. Because at the end of it, you feel great. You're with a bunch of like-minded fitness individuals, loud music, coaches making sure you're doing things right, and you feel good out there because you feel flexible, you feel loosened up. It's not necessarily feeling stiff like you do after a normal lift where you're kind of diagnosing your whole lift yourself and doing the benching and the squatting and the deadlifts on your own. Instead, you got people actually making sure you're doing things right, and you get your first 3 classes for just $30. F45, the functional side of working out. Check out and find a studio near you, F45 online, or go to downtown F45 West Palm Beach on Instagram. We'll do a little John C. Cassidy temperature check, a little 5 and 5, a little later on in the program. Stick around for it. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
What's the Anajar Levine difference? When you're injured in a car crash, we focus on your case so you can focus on the one thing that matters most, getting better. I'm Glenn Levine with Anajar Levine. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation, 1-800-747-FREE. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach. May is National Burger Month, so grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's Sports Grill for a big Burger Blitz celebration. Enjoy Duffy's award-winning half-pound certified Angus beef original cheeseburger and french fries, starting at just $8.99 with the purchase of any beverage. Plus, don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks, all day, every day. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more, and remember, at Duffy's, our game is always on.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ. That's JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
This Memorial Day, turn up the heat with the Home Depot. Find the perfect grill and patio set to keep the cookouts coming all season long. Grill up a feast with the Next Grill 4-burner gas grill, only $229. And complete your space with the stylish Glen Ridge Falls 7-piece dining set, now on special buy for just $499 with free delivery. Take your Memorial Day cookout to the next level all summer long with the Home Depot. See homedepot.com/delivery for more details.
While it's not always possible to see contaminated water coming out of the faucet, the taste is difficult to ignore. And what about plastics and pharmaceuticals now in the water? The team at Culligan is here to help. Culligan offers water testing and reverse osmosis systems designed to filter out those contaminants right at the source. Culligan has been helping the local community with water issues since 1936. Schedule your appointment today at Culligan.com.
Hey, Culligan man!
Did you miss Theoretically Speaking? My wife is a docent in training for the Norton Museum of Art. She is a woman of the arts. She works in the arts.
So, Tina, what's a docent?
A docent?
Is it kind of like a tour guide?
Yeah, they're the historian. They get into the depth of what you're actually looking at instead of you just looking at the piece yourself and saying, oh, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be me.
That would be me, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Just like how she can watch a game here and there and be like, yeah, I like that. She fills me in on the arts, I get her on the sports. Pablo Picasso, have you heard of?
It's Theoretically Speaking, weekdays at 2, here on ESPN 106.3.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
888-760-3776, the number to get into the program on Russo and Rizzo with Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. Also on your radio dial at ESPN 106.3. Inter Miami, for those fans right here in the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area, well, you get comfortable because it's about to get a whole lot more intense for the Inter Miami fans of the Club FIFA World Cup coming up.
It is, because they're going to be the first game at Hard Rock Stadium coming up June 14th against Al Ahly, the top flight Egyptian side. More on that in a second, because, folks, the Club FIFA World Cup will take place across the country this summer. Obviously here in Miami with Hard Rock, but it's going to be all across the country. This is the first time the tournament will take place in this specific format, featuring 32 teams all competing for the FIFA Club World Cup trophy. The tournament includes all these teams from these continents and countries. 12 teams from Europe, 6 from South America, 4 from Asia, 4 from Africa. 4 teams from North, Central, and South America and the Caribbean, 1 from Oceania, and 1 from the host nation, and none other than Inter Miami. The current champion is Manchester City, who beat Fluminense in 2023. Fluminense, a Brazilian side. Obviously, Manchester City throughout of the Premier League, one of the more historic teams the last 10 years within the Prem. But Miami is the host city for 2025 and the World Cup opener. The games in Miami will take place at Hard Rock Stadium and feature top clubs like Inter Miami, Al Ahly, Boca Juniors, Benfica, Real Madrid, Al Hilal, Bayern Munich, Palmeiras, and plenty more. 2 round of 16 matches. Top players and teams include Inter Miami, obviously with Lionel Messi, Jordi Alba, Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets. Real Madrid with none other, who I think is the best player in the world, and Kylian Mbappe. Not far behind him, Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham. Bayern Munich has Kaiser Harry Kane, and Boca Juniors, the legendary Edison Cavani. This is the Club FIFA World Cup. You can get your tickets by going to FIFA.com/tickets. That is FIFA.com/tickets. And Colin, slate me in for seeing Real Madrid in one of these games coming up in Miami.
Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat. It's time for us to bounce around a little bit. Who was hot? Who was cold? Who was good underneath the pressure of the bright lights and the intense heat? It's now summertime in South Florida. It's time for us to do a little John C. Cassidy temperature check.
Keep your cool. This is the Temperature Check.
Mostly sunny, highs in the lower 80s.
Presented by John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing, keeping Palm Beach County cool since 1960.
Plenty of sunshine today with seasonal temperatures. We should reach our...
Little John C. Cassidy temperature check, where we will go around the room a little bit, determine who was good in the pressure, the heat of the moment, and who was not. My first team I give a little bit of credit for being calm. Actually, I'm going to go bad first. Not keeping their cool under a little bit of pressure. How about the Florida Panthers? And the Florida Panthers, I'm not saying they played with a ton of pressure up 3-0 in the series in their home building, but for a chance to close out and get to another Stanley Cup final in front of your home fans, and with the amount of power play opportunities they were given, especially in that second and third period, I was there live. They could not get anything going offensively. And I know they didn't have Sam Reinhart, and I know they didn't have A.J. Greer and a variety of different players, but the thing about Florida was They are so much more talented offensively than Carolina. But Carolina, to their credit as well, just completely shut them down in the middle of the ice. I was down on Florida. They did not play a good game. They pulled Bobrovsky, and Carolina immediately got an empty netter to close out the game, and people couldn't get out of there fast enough down in Sunrise, Florida. So I'm going to go anti. Bad job by Florida not closing out and sweeping the Carolina Hurricanes, who now avoid another sweep.
The team, I'm going to go with the team that kept their cool, Kyle. And I'm going with our Inter Miami Herons because it looked like all was lost yet again. Guys, Inter Miami's won 2 games in their last 10. But thankfully, they got some draws in the mix there. It's not like they're losing every game. They've been able to pick up a couple of points. But Philadelphia, the number 1 team, Inter Miami was on the road in Philadelphia. They were down 2-0 at the end of the first half. And people were, Kyle, I do the halftime, pregame, postgame, the whole 9 yards on the Inter Miami radio network here on ESPN 106.3. I mean, in the chat, people were saying, fire Mascherano. He's the manager, a.k.a. the coach, guys, for American sports terms. But it was 2-0, and they were able to get the draw 3-3 on the road. They were down 3-1 at one point. I was very happy to see Inter Miami draw the top team in the Eastern Conference. Good news for Inter Miami, guys. They've played really well against the top teams in the Eastern Conference. They beat Philadelphia, who they tied with on the road. So they beat them in Miami, and then they tied them in Philadelphia. Inter Miami showed a lot of guts coming back and getting a draw and getting a point on the road against Philadelphia. They kept their cool.
I got one for you.
Let's hear it.
Because we are in a different age in baseball, but apparently those rules do not apply to Detroit Tigers Cy Young Award winner Tariq Skubal, who whipped Cleveland's tail. 94 pitches, 13 strikeouts in a shutout win. He threw a 102.6 mile-per-hour fastball in the ninth inning. They didn't make him sweat. Foul a pitch off every once in a while. Skubal kept his cool.
For the record, Guards took 3 out of 4 in Detroit, and they hammered him in the playoffs last year to advance to the ALCS. But hang on, we won 3 out of 4 in that series, Christian. So listen, Vogt punted the moment he had Nolan Jones and Junk in the same lineup. I'm okay with that.
He'll win the Cy Young again.
He's going to win the Cy Young again, and they get the best record in the American League.
But you look at all AL Central teams that have played the Guards 4-14. That division still runs through Cleveland.
But the AL runs through Detroit.
For now. Let's see if they could finish a full season.
Remember last year we talked about how
those
numbers were a little bit inflated because of a historically bad Chicago White Sox team. Are we going to say that about the American League East because of how bad the Orioles are?
No.
Or how bad the Rockies are?
No. And then I want an apology from all of you about the Central. Okay, there are 3 teams right now that are legitimate in the Central. I want an apology.
It took Minnesota to have
I want an apology.
15-game winning streak.
No. You guys told me the only reason that division is good is because of the damn White Sox. I think they have 17 wins already.
The AL is terrible, and there is one great team in that division. That is it. One great team.
You're willing to say Detroit's a great team at this point of the season.
All right.
Great?
Is nobody great then? I mean, we got to give somebody the great tag. There's probably 2 of them, and it's the Yankees in Detroit. That's it. There's nobody else, and it's a big gap right after that. And it's good. And Detroit's great because they got bats and they got the pitcher.
All I know is, boys, deepest division in the AL Central.
It's going to mean to a whole lot in the postseason. My team that kept their cool, I got to give them credit again. They did it for the second series in a row. We think they're young. They're the youngest team technically by roster, but the OKC Thunder winning Game 4, keeping Minnesota at bay, defensively outstanding, especially against Anthony Edwards. And I'm down on Anthony Edwards. So they're saying post-game, I can't be aggressive. I'm trying to make the right play the whole game. Yeah, there's something to that, but when you're a max contract player, you got to shoot more than 13 shots. That's just the bottom line. Hey, you can't go be 1 for 7 from 3 and only shoot 13 shots because they're shutting you down. You got to operate and give them something else. Give them another look. I mean, geez, is Alex Caruso going to shut you down the entire series? When can we expect you to show up? That is number one thing that I'm down on. But OKC Thunder, a crucial Game 4. This puts them in the driver's seat, likely going to win the series with flying colors back in their building. But to kind of fight off a good Minnesota rally with a couple big-time major, Jalen Williams especially, played very well. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a couple lackluster plays towards the end of the game. But I got to give them credit. You know, they won Game 4 against Denver, being down 2-1, and they were able to tie it up there. And then being up 2-1 with all the pressure on them to avoid the 2-2 series, they were able to close them out. I got to give the Thunder credit for keeping their cool.
Do you want to know who I'm going to give credit for keeping his cool amid all the controversy? It's a player. Amid all the controversy, is he going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers? My man Aaron Rodgers, man. You got OTAs going on. You got minicamp coming up. He ain't worried. He's on a microphone, Colin, talking to a bunch of people.
He was on Joe Rogan.
He's keeping his cool, mate. Fair play to him. And you want to know why? He can. He's got the Steelers by the you-know-what right now. Oh, we feel confident in Mason Rudolph. I read a ridiculous, the headline on ESPN.com right now. Rudolph amid quarterback noise. Good to be wanted. Brother, you are going to be so far down on the depth chart by the time the season comes because Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and play. He's got that team right where he wants them. He's going to miss OTAs. He's going to miss minicamp, and he's only going to be there for the mandatory training camp stuff. It's honestly a stroke of brilliance by Rodgers in doing this. Who wants to do that crap at his age anyway? But at the same time, can't lie, Kyle. I'm a bit sick of it. But Rodgers is keeping his cool by far. That's where I'm at.
I can't necessarily agree that he's doing the right thing here,
but he's keeping his cool. He don't care. The Steelers are on his time. Hey, Christian, Mike Tomlin's on his time,
this is why
bro.
I can't take Rodgers seriously, because one day Rodgers is talking about how he's got family, personal matters that he's got to attend to, and that's why he can't make a decision on where to sign. And that's fine. That's a fair excuse. But then you can't go and do Joe Rogan the next day. You can't go say that, you know, the government is manufacturing media and doing a bunch of conspiracy theories with Rogan. If it was that much of a personal issue that you had with health and the family, whatever it may be, you can't make a decision on your contract, but you could go on Joe Rogan and you could go sit on a stage and talk about how Bear fans care about the Packers more than Packer fans care about the Bear fans. If you could do all that, you could probably sign with the team. That's just the bottom line. I can't listen to Aaron Rodgers talking about how he's got to be cooped up in a hole because he's got personal issues going on. Either you do or you don't. Doesn't sound like you do.
I just find it hard to believe an organization like Pittsburgh, a coach like Mike Tomlin, is willing to go through all this. I'm like 95% sure he's going to be the quarterback for the Steelers.
Yeah, but they could call for Cousins tomorrow and go get Cousins, and then all of a sudden this Rodgers stuff is done.
Rodgers is better, and tell me if I'm splitting hairs here. I think Rodgers is a lot better than Kirk Cousins, the Cousins I saw last year.
But
Cousins was terrible.
But a Cousins that will
unplayable.
But a Cousins that will show up tomorrow for a team that, you know, is probably pretty well equipped to utilize his services. He'll show up tomorrow.
He's unplayable though, Kyle. You know how bad he played. And listen, the Atlanta came out.
They were 6-3, Mike. He had a bad 4-game stretch, and then they benched him. Yes, he was bad,
miserable,
and he was coming off an Achilles tear. But it was a bad 4-game stretch. I mean, he's unplayable. I think he's a little strong, but I understand. I mean, this is a guy who's won playoff games, so I can't necessarily rain on Kirk Cousins and saying Rodgers is the only answer, because you don't want the circus. If Pittsburgh doesn't want the circus, then go call for Cousins. You're trying to survive this year. You're not trying to break any records. Do I think Rodgers is probably a better option? Yes. Is it worth the headache? There's the conversation. Christian, you got nothing more for us on their John C. Cassidy temper trick? You're out?
I kept my cool. I had a personal best 95 on a Monday, taking advantage of the day off. So I, myself, Christian Cat, kept his cool.
He went to his Instagram account and said, better start betting against me now. He was talking a little smack on social media.
Did you play in the
Did
area?
I misread it?
Yeah, you misread it. I played at Atlantic National in Lake Worth. So what I said was I should start playing for money now because my handicap is very high. It does not reflect how good I actually am.
Yeah, because you're getting more strokes.
I thought he was calling a shot.
So right now it's a 28 handicap. So that means for a scratch handicap, so someone that plays scratch golf right around par, they have to give me 28 strokes. I could beat someone who gives me 28 strokes. If they consider themselves a scratch golfer, yeah.
Did you run into storms?
I heard thunder on Monday. I never actually had a drop of rain. It's perfect.
Really? I was biking and running, and in Jupiter.
Oh God!
And a Category 3 rolled through.
What
and
time?
It was, I want to say about 9:30, 10 a.m.
Okay, my tee time was 2:30.
Okay,
so I missed
you avoided.
I saw the rain you were alluding to.
Oh my God! It was a torrential downpour.
Hang on, you're not getting off that easy, kid. You trained this weekend?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Well, 10 hours over a 4-day period.
So give me everything you did. The swimming. So how much did you swim? 1.5 miles, you said?
All right, so I'll give you the whole weekend. Friday, I did Fast Friday at the pool. That's what they call it.
Fast Friday?
They call it Fast Friday at the pool. And so I did Fast Friday at the pool. That was just Friday. Saturday, I did a 52-mile ride and then a 4-mile run. That took about 3.5 hours.
All right, 52-mile ride. Are you going in circles or are you actually?
I go down. I 10 miles down, 10 miles back. So
Okay.
I have to go basically like 2.5 times.
That's okay.
That's doable.
Very much so. Very much so.
So it took me 3 hours to do that, and then the run was probably 30 minutes. That was Saturday. Sunday, I did a half marathon, 13.2. Ran pretty well for that. The problem is it's getting so humid early in the day.
Yeah,
so you got to leave right at crack of dawn.
What's your pace on 13? How long did that take?
Took me an hour and 53 minutes, so it took me about an 8:36 pace.
Dude.
Yeah, it was good, but the
impressive.
problem I wasn't overly pleased, but I didn't need to go to the bathroom, which is a win, and the humidity was a major problem. It's becoming a major
it's
problem
hard to run outside.
because it becomes 88 and with 85 it was 87% humidity with 89 degrees on Saturday on the run portion.
Colin, I ran outside Sunday at like 5 o'clock.
It is so much harder.
Dude, I had to turn around. I
It's
turned around
so
and went
much
home.
harder.
I ran a mile. My watch said 1.2, and I had to turn around and I walked back.
Oh, it was.
I thought
brutal.
I was going to have a serious problem out there.
Right.
When I was running. That's why I like the treadmill, Colin. I'm a psychopath for that.
I don't know. But and
People
then
call me crazy for doing the treadmill.
that was it's nice because you don't have to think; you just do it.
Yep.
And then that was Sunday, so that was just straight running. And then Monday, I did a 1.2 mile swim, open water, and then I went right to the bike. And then I did a 25-mile bike, and then I did a 3-mile run after that. It took me about 3 hours, and I was done.
Dude, you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you hear those numbers?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
dude, you're ready.
Yeah,
There's
I'm ready.
I'm not hearing any more slander from anybody about Colin on this damn
nah,
Ironman.
It's just about staying healthy now.
No, it's not even about that. I think you're going to be fine on that. It's about that rig, that bike, that godforsaken
the problem
bike.
is the bike lasted on the 52 on Saturday, no problem, and then the
Christian,
25 on Monday.
mile 13 into Boulder at the Real Deal, we're going to get a blown tire.
That's going to be a major problem.
Be following along in the tracker you say you have. And
Yeah.
where's
He's
he
been
going?
here for a while.
Yeah.
He's been in that one
Yeah.
spot for quite a bit. I don't know what's
It
going
can't
on
be a
there.
pee break. I mean, come on, get along with it.
Yeah, right. There might be, and then somebody's going to have to call a mechanic, but we'll see. Yeah, so this is going to be another tough week, and then you do a taper week, which is where you sort of chill out for like a week.
Nice.
So that's the plan.
I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Are you tired?
No.
Aren't you? No?
No, I'm ready. You know what? The one thing that I don't like is when it was pouring rain. I have a nail issue now. I'm gonna say this sounds weak, but I have a foot nail issue.
I'm all
and
ears.
it hurts like it's almost like a busted toe, but it's just on the nail.
Ingrown toenail. They hurt like a mother.
It
Yeah, they
might
do.
be something
Miserable.
like that. I don't know. I did some what is it? Pedicure, whatever you want to call it, and I think I fixed it. But now we're gonna have to. I'm not gonna run for about 2 or 3 days to see if that can fix.
From someone who's had that same issue before
Yeah.
and fixed it on my own, hot salt water.
Okay.
Epsom salt.
Hot salt water.
Yeah, and just
Yep.
let it soak.
Yep.
And then you do some
Hydrogen peroxide won't hurt
amateur
either.
surgery on it and you get the pus out. It hurts
Well,
so bad.
I don't think it's infected, but it just hurts.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to
But
keep
yeah.
an eye on that.
Kyle,
I
Kyle,
don't want that to be an issue.
It's hot salt water, and then if it was infected, I was gonna say hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's not infected.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But that's just something to monitor. As what am I? I'm about 2.5 weeks out. So 2 weeks from Saturday.
Now, how's the gash you got in
Completely
Skowhegan?
fine. Completely fine. Key Biscayne.
Key Biscayne, not Skowhegan?
No. We'll do a little 5 and 5. No. Yeah, 5 and 5% by Flagler Credit Union. On the flip side of things, as we enter into the second hour here, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WESP Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
As market dynamics change, the quality and service you receive from your accounting firm shouldn't. Partner-owned since 1923, Anshin Accountants and Advisors take the time to get to know you and your unique circumstances to help resolve complex issues and develop innovative tax and accounting solutions tailored to meet your goals. If you're a high net worth individual or business owner eager for a strategy to maximize tax savings, let Anshin deliver value where others can't. Visit ANCHIN.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, recalculating what's possible.
Improve your golf game fast at the all-new Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center has the facilities, tools, and coaching you need. Enjoy the best facilities in the area with an expansive chipping and putting area, practice bunkers, a huge putting green, plus a 2,000 square foot indoor training area with 3 hitting bays, cutting-edge analysis technology, and more. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center in the heart of Palm Beach County off I-95 and the Turnpike. Find out more at KaiserGolfCenter.com.
Are you ready for a global summer showdown? Saturday, June 14th at Hard Rock Stadium. Football legends collide at the opening match of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Al Ahly versus Inter Miami. Messi, Jordi Alba, and Inter Miami take on Jamal Mashour and Mohamed El Shenawi of the Egyptian powerhouse Al Ahly. Don't miss your chance to be part of history. Saturday, June 14th at Hard Rock Stadium. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast, professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Is your air or water flowing perfectly in your home? If the answer is no, EDS is yes. Theo here, and for me, EDS Air Conditioning and Plumbing is my go-to, and it should be yours too. EDS is Palm Beach County's trusted AC and plumbing expert. They'll make sure your air and water flow perfectly. EDS is a trained comfort specialist. It's hard to stop a train. Go to EDSIsYes.com. That's EDSIsYes.com. When comfort matters, EDS is yes.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the windows down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Oh, great. Just what I needed. More reasons to feel insecure. Have you seen the new ESPN 1063 billboards on I-95? Theoretically Speaking with Theo Dorsey and C-Cat. Big smiles, looking all important. Russo and Rizzo with Colin and Mike, like they just solved world hunger. And me? No giant Evan Cohen face gazing down on traffic. Unbelievable. But hey, at least you can listen to us weekday mornings 6 to 10 on Unsportsmanlike along with Chris Canty and Michelle Smallman right here on ESPN 1063. Because let's be honest, a billboard couldn't contain this level of greatness.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Second hour, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Listen up, the last of the pre-tariff materials for AC units, they're arriving now. The air conditioning industry is already starting to see shifts in material pricing due to these tariffs. So because of that, almost all AC systems, which have materials like this, they're all expected to be major price increases throughout the year. Get involved now before this happens, because availability of pre-tariff parts and systems will go quick, as now the summer is officially here in South Florida. Go to John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing, the local option, the locally serviced, the locally produced options, who have been proudly serving Palm Beach County since 1960. You can visit CassidyAC.com for more information. They've been keeping homes cool and comfortable. And the best part is, if you don't even know anything about your system, get one of their highly trained technicians to your home. They can perform diagnostic checks, they can troubleshoot, and they can check on your system. It doesn't even matter the brand or the age. All AC unit breakdowns could have been avoided had they been regularly checked and troubleshooted. That's what Cassidy does. Visit CassidyAC.com for more information. That's John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat. If you missed any of the program today, go listen back in podcast format, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all those great places. All episodes of Russo and Rizzo are uploaded in full there. Christian, our producer behind the glass at the City Play Studios. Christian, how are you today? What do you got for us?
Fantastic. Absolutely perfect today. They put too much caramel in my coffee, though, which normally there's
You like that?
Yeah, I do. And that's saying how much was in it. It was borderline inedible because I felt the drips of syrup shoot up the straw. You know, you can actually not taste the flavor of it, but taste the texture of caramel. That's when you know it's too much caramel.
Did you go see Tom Cruise hang off a plane today in theaters?
No, yesterday, the day before, I didn't see Tom Cruise.
What were you
in Mission
calling him?
Impossible.
What were you calling him?
He's the president of movies. He's the CEO of movies.
There'd be a lot of people that could argue that, but I don't know. Listen,
I watched it.
How was it?
I'll attach the story to after the 5 and 5. But
now, what was this? Mission Impossible 15?
8?
We don't even know.
8. Mm-hmm. It was 8. Christian. It was 8. It's the final one. That's what you know.
It's the final one
for
until
he needs some more money.
Correct. And what's his name? What's his name in the Mission Impossibles?
Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Oh, Ethan Hunt.
Till Ethan is back for revenge in Mission Impossible Recharge.
I'm telling you, there's something different. But we'll talk about that on the flip side. Let's do a little 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union.
5 topics.
High five.
5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Endless takes.
You can't handle the truth.
All gas, no brakes.
And it's shaking big time.
It's time for the 5 at 5.
Hold on to your butts.
Presented by Flagler Credit Union, proud supporter of FAU athletics. Earn up to $700 per year with boost checking from Flagler Credit Union. Number 1.
No more daddy issues in Indiana because Tyrese Halliburton's dad, John Halliburton, the ban has been lifted. He will be allowed to be in the building for Pacers-Knicks game 4 tonight. If you recall, Mr. Halliburton was last seen taunting Giannis Antetokounmpo on the court after the Pacers came from behind and eliminated the Bucks in the first round of the playoffs. Was this a correct move to make?
Probably not, to be honest with you. But he's going to sit in his suite, so keep him out of sight. So honestly, I could live with that. I'm not here to police the Pacers on how to handle Tyrese Halliburton's father being at the game. You made him suffer for the 2 series. It was indefinite. I was under the impression that indefinite meant longer than about 2.5 weeks, but maybe I'm in 4 home games, but neither here nor there. Keep him in the suite. Don't let him go near the players. I don't want him, getting in Jalen Brunson's face after a technical foul. We can avoid this. Let's just keep him in the suite and let him have his fun and watch his son play.
I'm completely fine with him being in his suite. As long as he's not hanging over the guardrail talking smack to fans and, usually trouble finds the people who find the trouble, but I'm fine with him being in his suite and just hanging out. Now, I think this brings on a more pressing issue of, was Halliburton the one that told him the Pacers like, hey, can my dad come back?
I'm sure he asked.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, why is this a story? I'm assuming it's Tyrese going, listen, my dad's sorry. Let's just put him in a suite and let's be done with this.
Promise you, he'll be on his best behavior.
That's what I mean. Like,
we talked about it, me and Colin, when you were off on Thursday. Charles Barkley took it upon himself on Inside the NBA, I believe, post-game, saying, hey, it's time to get him back in the arena. He was the flag bearer for the Get Pops back in the building.
Charles Barkley is the spokesperson for the NBA. Is he not the absolute best?
Honestly,
he's the best. Dude.
Half jokingly, there is a percentage of the reason why he's John Halliburton, Tyrese Halliburton's dad, is allowed back in the building. A percentage of that is responsible from Chuck.
I think it's about 75, and I'm not even kidding when I say that.
Not just a small percentage, just more often than not?
Not even kidding. 75% the reason he's allowed back. 25 probably his son.
I don't think I'm there, but all right, let's move on.
Number 2.
Let's stick with the NBA because Shams Charania was on the Pat McAfee show today, and he said, quote, this will be the most craziest NBA offseason ever. Direct quote, by the way. He said most craziest NBA offseason ever. What do you think he's alluding to, and really what would have to happen for you to label it just that, the most craziest offseason in NBA history?
I mean, the one that comes to mind is that Durant offseason and that after 2016. What would need to happen? Giannis gets traded. Kevin Durant gets traded. The Spurs make a big move with the number 2 overall pick. The Dallas Mavericks are going to get Cooper Flagg, so let's keep that in mind. The Lakers make another move. I think that would be interesting.
Giannis to the Lakers?
Tom Thibodeau gets fired, and all of a sudden the Knicks are getting a brand new coach. Coach K comes out of retirement for the Knicks.
Now we're talking.
Then this is getting interesting. Now we're turning up the temperature.
Doc Rivers, where's he going?
Yeah.
Maybe, possibly.
Recycle that. The Sixers make a trade and get Paul George and or Joel Embiid, one of the two out of there. Then it would be, all right, then this turns into a big blockbuster.
Colin said it better than I could. I think this is a league where contracts don't mean anything anymore.
No.
A player says, I want gone, guess what? It's gone.
They're declaring for the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
That was a good one.
That
was a good one.
That's it.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Reigning, defending, undisputed AL Cy Young Award winner Tariq Skubal shut down the Guardians over the weekend. A shutout 2-hitter, setting the record for strikeouts in a game with under 100 pitches. 13 strikeouts, 94 pitches. Is that performance more impressive than some of the no-hitters that you've seen in baseball?
Honestly, an efficient 13 Ks like that, maybe. You know, nowadays it's a little harder to put together a no-hitting performance because guys just don't go as long.
And we're not talking about combined no-hitters. They do not exist.
Right. But Tariq Skubal's the best pitcher in baseball at the moment. I would say that him at his best, it's not as more impressive because it's sort of what you'd expect from somebody as dominant as he is consistently. So I'd probably lean on the side of a no-hitter, a little bit more impressive still.
I wanted, for the record, no one knows who any of these guys are, but John Kenzie Noel, Will Wilson, Austin Hedges, and Nolan Jones. That was the back half of the Guardians lineup. I think Stephen Vogt punted the game the moment he turned in the card. The Guards won 3 out of 4.
Number 4.
That's all I know.
The college football 26 cover has been released. Of course, the video game that reprised last year. It's back-to-back years. Here are the cover stars. A pair of sophomore sensation wide receivers. You have Alabama's Ryan Williams and Ohio State's Jeremiah Smith.
Go off for.
In the deluxe cover, they just threw everybody on. It's everybody in the
everybody gets this nowadays.
DJ Lagway, Cade Klubnik, James Franklin, a couple of random fans made their way onto the cover. Dan Lanning's creeping back there somewhere.
Nice.
Was it the right move to have those wide receivers as the cover of College Football 26? It's hard to project these things.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes college football players make their hay in their season, and they come into a season with less hype. But what do you think of the decision?
Doesn't it feel a little bit more college football-esque to get like a Lenora Sellers, quarterback of South Carolina, on the cover? Or just, it seems a little bit more college football-esque to get like a South Carolina guy. I don't need an Ohio State.
Why?
I don't need Alabama. I don't need that.
Why?
Give me a
That makes no sense.
You with me? Like,
Yeah,
give me
college
like,
football embraces the non-mainstream more
Guys,
than any other sport.
Go back
Lenore
to I'm
Sellers
not
would have
listening to
been
this
an
garbage.
excellent,
I'm not
an
listening
excellent
to this.
candidate.
Go back to the guys who've been on it in the history of it.
Marcel Reed
Guys,
from Texas A&M.
Guys, Desmond Howard, Reggie Bush, Larry Fitzgerald, Mark Ingram, Tim Tebow. Like, this game historically has the best players on the cover. And Jeremiah Smith arguably put
Marcel Reed, Texas A&M's quarterback.
No, you're wrong.
That
Like,
would
Colin,
be a
you know
fun
I
one.
love you. You
That'd
know
be
I
a
love
fun
you.
one.
You are wrong.
Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame would be a fun one.
Oh, my God.
No, but
Just
go
throw
back.
on the guy from UNLV.
Yeah.
The guy who
Mike,
left?
Yes.
Rizzo, you're the one who's bringing up history. Are we going to forget about the last NCAA football 14 cover? He wasn't very good. He was the running back at Michigan that no one ever remembers his real name.
Don't tell me. I should know this.
I didn't even have this game.
Actually, not running back. Excuse me, quarterback. Denard Robinson.
Oh, it's
It
Denard
was-
Robinson.
Dude,
yeah.
what do you mean?
He was
He
a good
beat
college
he
player.
beat
It was
that.
good.
Hang on.
But
that,
he was not a national champion.
that guy, by the way, Denard Robinson beat a 6-6 Ohio State team led by none other than Luke Fickell, and everyone crowned him the greatest quarterback in the friggin' country that year. Okay. Anyway, guys, the biggest players.
Former Jag.
Yeah, pretty good on the return side of things. Receiver.
No.
Was he a running back? Anyway, usually big stars are on this. I'm not shocked by it. The Buckeyes just won the national championship. Say that again. And then Ryan Williams was unreal. So I have no problem with these
Lenore
guys.
Sellers would have been an A+
You're
cover.
so wrong on that. Listen, this past game was unreal. I hope they don't do a lot of tinkering. They don't need to do a lot of tinkering. The college football game they came out with this year, 25, I could sit here and say was the best football game I played in 20 years. Since the original PlayStation and Xbox, honest to God. Madden has been a hodgepodge of garbage for years. And actually, can I rephrase what I said? The Tim Tebow and Mark Ingram NCAAs were unreal as well. Keep with what you did on the last game. Don't try to get too cute.
John Mateer at Oklahoma on the cover would be a sight to behold.
Oh, Jackson Arnold at Auburn. Right.
They'll never do it, but I would almost appreciate not doing the game every year. It makes too much money. People will buy the game no matter what, so they're going to keep on making the football game no matter what. But if they did it maybe every 4 years, that would make me more excited for college football 25. We're used to waiting. We waited 11 damn years.
I'm in season 38 of my dynasty for the Buckeyes. I only have 2 more years left, and then it ends because the dynasty only goes 40 years.
That's when the meteor hits?
That's
when
yeah,
the time
correct. Correct.
You still play the
That's-
game? You still play it?
Dude, every like clockwork. It's usually a game. It's usually 2 games every week. I do 2 games every
Lenore
week.
Sellers. Let's move on. What we got next?
Number 5.
All right, time to bring up my personal problems into the situation.
Okay.
Number 5 of the 5 at 5. I told you that I shot my personal best, a 95, on Monday at Atlantic National Golf Course.
Okay.
But that's not the story here. The story was I was cruising, playing solo, flying through the front 9. Did it in like an hour and 10 minutes. There was a pair in front of me, a husband and wife, neither of which were very spectacularly good, so they were taking their time, and they should have. Once we got to the turn, they stopped to get some water. They waved me through, hey, pass us up. We don't want to be in your way. We don't want you to suck behind us. We don't want to feel rushed since you're playing by yourself. So I get to the 10th hole, and I see that there is someone also playing by themselves. They're on the green, so I just start playing. I eventually catch up to that person on the following tee box, on the 11th tee box. So there's me in my cart. Behind that person in their cart, they're playing solo. There's another pair in front of him, so he can't see off yet. It's a par 3. He's stuck there. So naturally, I go up to the guy and say, hey, we're going to be stuck here for a while. Do you want to pair up so that we're not stuck every single time?
Let's speed this up a little bit.
He said, no. He said, no, I don't want to play golf with you. He denied me in cold blood.
Was he a good player?
I mean, probably as good as me. Whatever. Not a scratch golfer, not even an 18 handicap, just trying to figure things out. But I got 100% denied from playing golf with somebody.
How'd you respond?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I did not anticipate that answer. So
Right.
I
You
stammered.
guys ever seen
I
that
stumbled.
vine? The vine of, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That's
yeah.
exactly what you did in that moment.
I had no choice but to just accept it. if I had more thought, I probably would have been more pressing on the matter. What should I have done there? Should I have respected his wishes? And what happened was...
You can't force the guy to play with you, so that's number one. But continue.
He just said, yeah, go right ahead. So then I tee off as soon as the pair that was on the green got off. And now I'm rushed because I have him directly behind me. I have the pair that I pass directly behind him, rushing him. So he just ruined my entire round.
No. Can I be honest?
This is when you broke a record.
Time out.
I know. It could have been better.
Christian,
it could have been better.
Christian, let me be honest.
I'm not listening to that.
I work at a course, no golf etiquette. You thought about that too much. The guy just probably wanted to play alone. He didn't mind playing behind you. To be honest, I hate play. I refuse. I'm that guy. I don't play with strangers. Like, if they say we're going to pair you up with somebody, I don't do that. I'll leave the course or play alone.
What are you talking about?
I'm only trying to play with people I know that I would want to play with.
I've met.
Is that not fair?
I don't. If you schedule
the timing,
a tee time,
I'm not trying to play with some random.
But when you did play more often, you would schedule a solo tee time expecting to not get paired with anybody.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
We were at least the course I worked at, you were allowed to go out as a solo, as long as you played quick. If you were going to go out there and putz around, and it hit 5 balls, yeah, they're going to get on you.
Well, yeah, but you should not turn your nose up if you schedule.
I'm just not trying to play with
anyone with you. That makes sense. They're going to fill up their tee times and make money. You know that.
I do, but at the same time, you're a single. If my Robbie McCart always go, you going to play fast? Yeah, we're going to play fast. All right. And guess what? If that guy didn't play fast, guess who had to go out there and get on his rear end? Me.
So
Speed it up.
This guy was more in the right of denying to play golf.
Correct.
Just for the
I
second
don't know.
nine.
Correct.
He
didn't want to play.
If there was a foursome coming up on your tail, the foursome is going to look ahead and be like, why are these two guys playing separately?
Exactly.
To wait for this when they could hit their tee shots together, then hit their approach shots together. That, if anything, you look worse to the foursome. Because the foursome's going to say, why aren't you asking that guy to play?
People like playing alone, though, guys.
It doesn't
people
matter
like
about the other
going
guy.
out there and being solos.
You got to be considerate of everybody else's time.
Dude, you play faster when you're alone. What are you guys talking about?
Not when you splitting up two people.
Splitting
would
up
make
two
him go slower because he's got to wait for me to get out of the fairway to my approach on a par 4, and it works that way.
They could have went together and then hit their second shots together. It would have been faster.
I don't see the vision here. Solos play faster.
We would have zoomed by because we have our own carts too. So it's not like I have to go to my tee shot then go back for his. No. If we played together, it would have evened everything out.
You got to wait for him to finish the hole, and then you got to finish the hole, and then the foursome goes. Instead of you two hitting your tee shots together and then moving on together and then moving on together.
Just think about a par 3, which was where this started. We were on a par 3 tee box. I tee off. I go all the way to the green. Now he's waiting for me to not only hit my chip, make my putts.
I don't know. Anytime I ever solos come through. And say I had a buddy, I was playing with a buddy. It was a twosome, right? We let the solo play through. I don't even see that guy. I let him play through that hole. I don't see the guy.
But you're talking about...
I don't even see the guy.
Opening, the course open in front of him comparatively to people stacked together. In the interest of time, you don't want two solo guys to go through the hole one at a time.
But after that hole, it won't be a problem because those guys are going to be so far ahead of you if you're in a group.
You just had a guy who played fast. It's not necessarily a given. There are solo guys who, damn near walking the course, taking forever. I think in the interest of the guys who didn't want to have Christian sit behind them, I think I'm on the same page as Christian. Did the guy have to let you play with him? No. Was he probably wrong to say no in the interest of everything going on, where there's somebody in front and somebody behind, everybody sort of stacked together? Probably.
It took a nice and open, not too many playing. It's out of season. It was hot out, possible rain in the forecast. He turned what we thought was going to be nice and easy into a log jam where it didn't need to happen.
888-760-3776. Let's go to Lake Worth. Let's cue in Jeff on the matter. Jeff, welcome in. What do you got for us?
Well, I've been running a golf course for multiple golf courses for 22 years, and you got a twosome in front and a twosome behind, and it would have made sense that there was another twosome in the middle. And common golf etiquette is for that guy to let Christian play with him. Now he might have saw his swing and said, "No, I don't want you to play with me," but common golf etiquette there is definitely to let him play with them. That's what we do at all the golf courses that I've run.
Jeff, in your experience, is it it's faster for those two to play together than it would be to play solo and solo, correct?
Well, and then we would look at the twosome in front. Is there more groups in front of them? Could that single had played through that other twosome as well? And knowing Atlantic National, I'm sure there was more groups in front, so there's really nowhere to go anyway.
Yeah, we got a pair that was in front of me that was taking their sweet time. They were teeing off like 4 times each of the tee box, and I'm a little non-confrontational, so I let it slide. But now we got like pressure from ahead of me, pressure from behind me. It really was unnecessarily dramatic, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry for your experience, my friend.
Good call, Jeff. We need to loop Jeff in whenever Christian has an issue on the golf course.
Yeah, Jeff's got to be the guy.
We'll loop in Jeff. Jeff will be your guy for that.
That's good.
That was our 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union. What would you do with an extra $700? Mike Rizzo would probably buy a TV. Christian Cat would probably get new golf clubs or something like that.
Mike Rizzo might buy 4-person on tee time and then only use one of them so he can guarantee play by himself.
Yes, right.
I don't know what I feel bad. I don't know what single takes 35 minutes to play a hole of golf, but
with an extra $700, I don't know. I'd probably buy a flight somewhere if I really had to, but you could earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual % yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love annually. They have 4 convenient locations across Palm Beach County. That's Boca Raton, Lake Clark Shores, North Palm Beach, and West Palm Beach. Stop by your nearest location or visit flaglercu.org for more information. Flagler Credit Union is a proud partner of Florida Atlantic University Athletics. Well, Christian had a moment at the golf club. I was watching the president of movies put fannies in seats over at the movie theater.
Yeah.
President of movies.
Like watching Picasso paint.
Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible. I show up to my theater, and for some reason, Tom Cruise likes bringing out, I'll put it at the 50-year-old to the 65-year-old demographic. He's very popular amongst that demographic, and they took my seat, and they did it strategically. We'll get into that on the flip side of things. It's Russo Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
The playoffs are heating up, but your home shouldn't. Stay cool with EDS Air Conditioning. Right now, qualified customers can take advantage of 0% interest for 60 months on a brand new AC. Hot streaks belong in sports, not in your home. With over 800 Google reviews and a 4.8 star rating, EDS is the name you can trust since 2006. Visit EDSIsYes.com today. Game day comfort starts now. Don't sweat the small stuff.
I'm Ellie Anajar of Anajar and Levine. Injured in a car crash? Never rush to settle with insurance companies, and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine. Our experienced legal team will fight to win you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call me, Ellie Anajar, for a free consultation and take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
The quality of our choices affects the quality of our lives. So, when it comes to how you move, do you choose to see a doctor or go to the #1 orthopedic specialist in the world, backed by a team who custom tailor your treatment? Do you choose to live with limitations or live life to the fullest by going to the place that's /1 at getting people back to what they love? Choose better, move better. Locations in West Palm Beach and Wellington. Learn more at hss.edu/Florida.
Ladies and gentlemen, the finale is set for the biggest club soccer tournament in Europe, and it's never been easier to get in on the action. The Hard Rock Bet app allows you to place bets on your phone faster than you can scream Golazo. Plus, you get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. That's only on Hard Rock Bet, Florida's sportsbook. Roll with us. Payable in bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT it.
This is ESPN 106.3, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Find official rules for all your favorite ESPN West Palm contests by visiting ESPNWestPalmContests.com. That's ESPNWestPalmContests.com. You're listening to ESPN 1063, the ESPN app, and streaming on your smart speaker.
Get this. Joey and me were supposed to go to this concert next week, right? But then something terrible happened. Joey was driving without a seatbelt. But he didn't wreck. No, he got pulled over. Now Joey has to pay for a seatbelt ticket instead of a concert ticket, and I have to go by myself. How lame is that? So Joey, if you're out there, you're an idiot. Wear your seatbelt or you'll get a ticket.
All across the country, cops are cracking down. Click it or ticket, day and night.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Trans World Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
May is National Burger Month, so grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's Sports Grill for a big Burger Blitz celebration. Enjoy Duffy's award-winning half-pound certified Angus beef original cheeseburger and french fries, starting at just $8.99 with the purchase of any beverage. Plus, don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks, all day, every day. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more, and remember, at Duffy's, our game is always on.
Did you miss Theoretically Speaking? I actually used to date Scarface's daughter back in middle school. 2 times I've had a conversation with Face, once in a middle school when he threatened me and made sure that I would be a great boyfriend to his daughter. And another time, 15 years later, outside of a bar, sipping a sidecar. You know some Scarface songs.
No way.
You do.
There's no chance, because I still didn't know who Scarface. I thought you were talking about the actor who plays Scarface.
I figured.
It's Theoretically Speaking, weekdays at 2, here on ESPN 1063.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
Well, if you're looking forward to Knicks Pacers Game 4 tonight, 8 p.m. TNT, Pacers up 2-1 in Indiana. You might as well sprinkle some action, have some fun over at the Hard Rock Bet app. Go down today in the Google Play Store, Apple App Store, go hardrock.bet online to get started. You had F1 over the weekend in Monaco. You had the Indy 500. You had Memorial Day weekend sports. You have the MLB. You got the College World Series, which is going to be starting here. You got the regionals this weekend. You got the NCAA, the softball. There's a lot to watch right now, and Hard Rock Bet basically has it all. Go start today, and you get $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not hit. The interface is easy. It's acclimated for both players, for the new player and the experienced player. That's why I love Hard Rock. I loved it when I first got started, and I love it now when I know what I'm doing. That's Hard Rock Bet, offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. The wager terms and conditions apply. Considered by gambling. Call 1-888-ADMIT. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063. So, when the president of movies says you got to come to the theater.
And who's the president of movies again?
Tom Cruise. Okay. When he says you got to come to the theater to see my new movie, I listen. My ears perk up. Yes, I will go. So, because of that, and I have a movie subscription. I pay with a movie company to get unlimited amounts of going to the theater for about $20 a month. It's an excellent deal if you get your money's worth. But this is a movie that requires something called IMAX, which is the huge screen. Huge screen, stadium seating. It's a premiere format, and it's supposed to be for the big-time movies. My theater does not have an IMAX, so I had to go to an alternative brand and buy a ticket. First of all, $25 for an IMAX ticket. You wonder why theaters are closing? $25 for an IMAX ticket to go see a movie is ridiculous.
What, do you get to scale the building yourself?
Oh, my God. I spent $20 a month, and I could go see 7 movies. Unbelievable. I was really annoyed by that. Point is, I go. It's a 3:15 showing on Saturday. I scheduled my day absolutely superbly. I had a haircut at 1. I had the bike ride in the morning, and I had Mission Impossible at 3:15. I show up. I don't know this theater brand, so I don't know how late the movie starts comparatively to the start time. Usually it's 20 minutes after. I showed up right on time. I was in G12, stadium seating. I go in. There's nothing wrong with this. This is just my observation.
Stadium seating.
This is my observation. Everybody in there was in the realm of 50 to 65 years old. Just goes to show Tom Cruise resonates with that demographic. Fine. I go up to G. There is every seat taken except for one in G. I'm thinking it's mine. I have G12. I'm not a stickler about where I sit, but I don't want to be sitting in somebody else's seat and have to move mid-movie. I just don't want to deal with it. G17 is the one that is open. I'm G12. I'm like, all right, so somebody screwed up here, and we're going to figure out who, because the trailers are like, haven't even started yet. So I go down about 5 seats, and it's this, she was a, 50-something-year-old woman, and I go, excuse me. I was polite, of course. I was like, excuse me, miss, are you in G12? I believe this is my seat. I'm not sure if you made a mistake on where you were sitting. She was confused. So paper ticket. She was looking for it in the purse. Okay. Eventually, she gets up, and I'm like, all right, my seat. I'm sitting down. I'm getting comfortable because I assumed she had to go move to another spot. Eventually, she comes back, and the seating, this is why this theater is phony. The numbers were not in the middle of the seat. They were on each side. So you don't know whether G11 or G12 was the one I was sitting in. She goes, actually, no, this is G11. So maybe I made a mistake. So I'm already sitting down. So I look directly to my left at G12, and I go, there's another lady. What about you? Are you in the wrong seat? Are you supposed to be in G12? And she's got a fistful of popcorn, and she goes, yeah, I think us 4, she was like a foursome, a group, are all in the wrong seat. And I'm thinking, why? Like, why? Why are we like this? Like, why are you doing this?
And you're in your correct seat.
So I'm in the wrong seat. She's in my correct seat.
Okay.
But then I'm at a certain point, I could either make this lady get up after I made the lady previous get up, and I'm going to give her seat back. I can make lady number 2 get up, take her seat, and either make everybody shift down or make her go to the other side, about 5 seats down. At that point, I'm thinking, I don't need to be that guy. So I'm like, all right, no problem.
You took the high road.
And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to make everybody get up. I know everybody. Listen, I'm the young guy of the crew. And I'm like, you know what? No problem. I'll just jump on to the end. It was not a big deal. It really wasn't. I'm okay with moving seats 4 seats. So I'm going down, and everybody, we were laughing. It was actually kind of a moment because I was like a couple high fives, weirdly enough. It was like I was coming off the bench at a basketball game.
I give
a couple high fives, and I go to G17. I sit down in G17, and you got an older gentleman to my right who I don't think has ever been to a movie theater before with how loud his phone was and how bright his phone was. And you got a lady to my left who was a fine movie theater goer. I'm not the type to judge. I know it sounds like I'm judging every movie theater goer, but
you are, but it's okay.
I'm okay. I already moved seats. So I'm all right, get comfortable. The trailers are starting, and I press the button. It's a reclining theater, and it doesn't work. So then I think. I lean forward, and I look at this foursome, and I go, you guys are good. You guys are good. I totally know why you guys moved down, because you guys definitely got here 3 hours ago, testing out all the seats, making sure they're to your liking, and you realized one was busted, and you decided to move down one spot and then burn the guy who was in G12. The guy who in G12, Colin Russo,
was sitting in the correct seat.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So this goes to show, why the hell are people still like this with tickets?
I agree.
Why this happens at sporting events. This happens on airplanes. This happens at movie theaters. This happens at the zoo. Why do people do this?
They're sitting in the seat they didn't pay for.
You paid for 3A. Hey, 3A. Take a look. That's where you're supposed to sit.
Yes.
You're not supposed to sit here. You're not supposed to sit 3 rows down. You're not supposed to sit 2 rows to the left. You're supposed to sit in 3A. Listen. Did it break my experience? No. I watched the CEO of movies put on an absolute display in the last 90 minutes.
But you weren't comfortable.
I couldn't lean back, and everybody else was leaning back, and the guys, they were having a ball, half asleep, leaning fully back. And part of me was thinking, screw these guys, burning me in this seat. And I'm sitting there trying to take the high road, and then I realized that, I just got burned here.
Here's the problem. The reason why people like them are able to exist is people like us. I'm with you, Colin. I would have done the same exact thing at each and every turn that you made those decisions.
You do it the first time. You don't do it the second time.
You're just being nice. You're avoiding the conflict, whatever. It's okay. And at the end of the day, the moral of the story is you got taken advantage of.
Yeah,
you were
you
the
did.
sucker. You were the mark.
So you're saying if I really wanted to, I should have gotten up and been like, all right, we're moving. Everybody's a group. Everybody.
No, now
up,
you can't.
Up. You, and you.
You
up
can't. Hey,
and down one.
No, you dug your grave. You dug your own grave.
No, I don't think I
You
dug
dug-
my own grave.
yeah.
They dug my grave for me, and I laid in it.
But yeah.
That's what happened. I didn't
It
dug,
is,
I didn't dug
but
any
at the,
grave.
At the same time, you went along with the plan. So you can't get up and
What do you think I
make
should
a
have done
scene.
there? Should I have
you
moved
know, you
lady
swallow
number
your pride.
two?
You
Should I-
swallow,
yeah.
you swallow your pride. You did the right thing, but now you know that's my seat. Get up.
And I'm not, and listen,
Get
the
up.
people of that demographic, there's nothing against it. They're chronically early. That's the thing. They're chronically early.
That's
They
Colin,
show up 4 hours
not chronic,
early.
Can I say disgustingly early?
So I can't beat them there.
Yes.
That's not going to happen.
So here's how this should have gone, Colin. If I was a better man than I am, if I was stronger-willed, I would have done this if I were you. I'm saying I would have done what you did, and I would have kicked myself for this, said that's never happened again. But watch all the previews. Watch the whole thing. You get there. This music hits. You go, excuse me! You!
Wrong seats! Up and move!
Let me see the ticket! D12!
Should I go get the attendant? Hey! Look at their tickets.
Then you get thrown out.
You lost your rights to see the title sequence of the president of movies, Mission Impossible.
I could do this all day, guys. I could do this all day.
You get
Either
kicked out.
you guys are moving, or I'm going to do this the whole time. I do this for a living. I can talk. It's be a long day.
Yes.
So I got burned there. But then
Yeah,
I
you
had to,
did.
so I had to watch it completely upright, like I'm in a doctor's chair. And that's how that went.
To Colin's point on that too, those chairs are made like you have to recline back in those
Yes.
chairs.
Yeah.
Or else they are completely, I just love how they go, oh, dude, their seats recline. You better hope they do. Because if they don't recline, you're going to wake up with a backache.
This has happened to me on airplanes.
Dude,
How do people screw up
time out.
airplane seats?
Psychopath. If you better not be giving away seats on an airplane.
You've got-
I pay for a window seat,
Hold on.
and I'm sitting in a damn window
A
seat.
mother and her I agree with this to a degree, but a mother and her child come up to you and they're like, hey, can we sit together? They screwed up our ticket.
Kyle.
That's never the truth.
Kyle. Time out,
no
time
one's
out.
ever screwed up a
Time
ticket.
out. Time out. Colin, I'm not moving.
So
I'm
you
not
got,
moving.
hold on, let me get this straight.
I'm not moving.
Let me get this straight. So you got an 8-year-old in the middle seat. No, let's shrink it. You got a 5-year-old in the middle seat, and mom is 7 rows up. Mom goes, you're in a window seat. Mom goes, hey, I'm in an aisle 6, 7 rows up. I would like to sit with my son in the window seat. You're in an aisle. You're not in the middle.
It's not my fault that Colin, she
Hold on,
botched
so you're
it.
saying this
She
is-
botched it. It's not my problem. I'll take care of him. We'll have a wicked time. We'll play
No,
Switch.
Mike, a mother does not want to hear that. See this?
We'll
I
play
got him.
Switch.
I got him.
We'll play Switch. I got the DS. I'll give him a damn game. I'm not getting up for my seat, bro. I paid for that seat. Not my fault. You botched.
I am very
botched.
situational with that.
Not my fault. You botched your flight plans.
I've mixed. I've gone to exit rows because people do want to be there. It doesn't really make a difference to me as long as you're not getting, sandwiched between two people on a middle
and
seat.
actually, do you want to know what something I would not do? Say if there was a seat open up, but there were only 2 people in a row, I would let those people have the extra seat in between. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
So
if you're on a Southwest flight and you get to choose your own seat, you don't want to take the middle?
I'm trying to say for some, actually, no, this would never happen because no one would be sitting in the middle. I was about to say I wouldn't move up to make it 3 in a row. You know what I mean? 3 people in a row. Say I paid for a middle seat and say I paid for a window seat and this person paid for a middle seat and there was no one next to her and that seat was open and I had the opportunity to move further up on the plane and have a window seat. I would let that person who got the middle get the window seat. Does that make sense?
Right, because you'd give the first dibs to the person that's closest to
But
the seat.
I also wouldn't make it 3 in one row. I respect if you don't have somebody in your row.
You're that much of a stickler for a window seat that
I
you
am.
will move rows if the availability opens itself?
I am. I love them. I love a window seat. Gotta have it.
Dude's got an iron bladder. I don't know how you do it. You're fearless.
That brings me into me. I don't eat anything for 15 hours leading into a flight. I don't eat anything.
It's like surgery.
Right, we're going to get in this on, I don't even know what that means. We're going to get in on the flip side. That's Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast, professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Introducing the bold, the powerful, the all-new 2025 Range Rover Sport P530 Dynamic SE. A luxury SUV that commands attention with its refined design, dynamic performance, and cutting-edge technology. Lease the 2025 Range Rover Sport for just $15.29 per month for 36 months. Drive in style, power, and comfort, all for just $15.29 a month. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and take the new Range Rover Sport for a spin. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Hey, Steph Prince here, General Manager of ESPN West Palm, to tell you about a team that has meant a lot to me and this community for a long time. Bob and the team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning have been helping me stay cool for years, whether at home or in the office. And living in South Florida with 3 kids, I don't know what I'd do without them. Family owned and operated, serving Royal Palm Beach and beyond since 1980. Let the knowledgeable and trained team at Bradley help you with your residential and commercial needs, installation, repair, seasonal maintenance, upgrades of all makes and styles and models of HVAC equipment, and so much more. Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning does things right the first time and makes the process smooth, stress-free, and most importantly, keeps you cool. Give them a call at 561-793-7497. That's 561-793-7497 or bradleyair.com. Any need, big or small, trust the amazing team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning.
Time to put your money where your mouth is.
We can't lose. We can't lose. We can't lose.
Survive and Advance is the name of the game.
That's right! We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure!
Tail the hot hand.
Continue this improbable run. 22 consecutive wins.
And fade the cooler.
Everything you touch turns to mush. People go to the racetrack and the teller will give him his tickets already ripped out.
Let's go streaking.
We're going streaking! Yeah!
Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
All right, let's make this quick. Let's go streaking with Hard Rock Bet. Knicks Pacers tonight. The Pacers are favored by 2.5 points. I lean on the side of the Pacers extending this to a 3-1 series lead. Reluctantly, I would root for the Knicks, but if I'm going to make a bet with my head, I will do the Pacers minus 2.5. We're trying to put together wins and or losses in a row. I am win 2 at the moment. So this would be for 3 in a row.
I think I'm 6 in a row. I don't think I've lost.
Whoa.
I don't think I've lost.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Guards plus 110. Because the last bet I took was Oklahoma City with you guys, and then I went out of town and we didn't streak after that.
Yeah,
so this is for 7.
I'm struggling. I'm L7. L7.
Wow.
Lost to the Timberwolves last time we did this, and I'm going to take the under again in Knicks Pacers. I'm going back for more. I never learned my lesson. Again, I have lost 7 picks in a row. So if you are fading me, you are profiting like a fat cat. Take the over if you want to win money. Take the under if you want to follow CCAT 219.5 in the Knicks Pacers game.
Do you guys know a fat cat? I do. He eats everything.
Oh, like a physically
fat cat, but he's awesome. My aunt has a giant cat.
15 hours before a flight?
15 hours before a flight, I make sure I don't eat anything so I don't have to go poop on an airplane. That is correct.
Wow. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3 saying so long. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 106.3.
Kaiser University's flagship campus, the 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach, extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees within the heart